creativity is about following your gut and not the rules. And on today's show, I'm going to meet a designer who takes this belief to another level. Hello and welcome to the Interior Show. I'm Aditi Singh and today I'm going to meet Ravi Vazirani, a self-taught designer who's all about making his own rules and then challenging them with equal nonchalance. So without further ado, let's go and meet one of the most sought-after interior designers in Mumbai.
Hi, welcome to my house. I'm Ravi Vazirani. I've been working as an interior designer for the last 5 years and I have my own design studio. The thing that sets me apart from other designers is the fact that I don't have any formal training in design. That constantly keeps me on my toes. I'm always wanting to learn more. It's a constant process of understanding and adapting, and it has helped me create my own style. My inspiration comes from my travels, my surroundings, and things that I observe every day. So the best thing I like about interior design is seeing the final product and being like, whoa, I have something to do with that.
Hi Ravi, thank you for having me here.
You're welcome.
And I have to say that on a busy street like Bandra, this is a very beautiful and quaint house that you've done up.
Thank you.
So, is this your own place?
No, this is a rented apartment.
Well, that's interesting because usually the perception is that if you're living in a rented apartment, you're bound to move out of it in some time, which is why not many people invest much into, designing their house. Why have you done that? You've done exactly the opposite.
I'm an interior designer. The least I deserve is to come back to a house that I like to live in. People have this belief that, I'm living in a rented apartment. I'll buy things I like later. Like, not let me buy things that are, cheap and chic and I could throw them out. I always tell them, invest. Invest in furniture, invest in things that you like. And that's just what I've done over here.
Okay. Ravi, as most designers I've met have a signature style. Do you have one?
I don't have a particular signature style that sets me apart. There is an element of eclecticism that I enjoy, but I don't like designing a space with a Mediterranean theme or with a classical theme or with an Art Deco theme. There is an element of everything, things that inspire me. For example, at my own space, I have these beautiful Art Deco chairs, which I sourced from an antique dealer, to my coffee table, which I literally stole from my carpenter's workshop because it was a bench that was there and I fell in love with it and I said I need to have it, to pieces of furniture that I own around the house, which may be modern contemporary pieces, to something to something I found on the road. That's my style, where I like mixing up things.
Okay. So as your own client, what was your brief to yourself?
Oh, I'm a very annoying client for myself. I keep changing my mind all the time. So the first process was identifying things that I liked about the house, like the floor. I love these 70s floors that we have in these Bombay homes. I love the windows and I love the grills. So those were elements I decided I did not want to change. I did want to make some certain structural changes, even though my landlord had agreed for them. I decided not to do those because it would just mean investing a lot of money in something that wasn't worth it for me. Or rather, I put all my attention into then designing pieces that would complement the house. So if you see the table behind me, that table has a concrete top. I work a lot with concrete. So just try to marry things into that.
Ravi, let's talk about the space that we're sitting in. I see that no two pieces of furniture are similar, and yet it fits in so beautifully. So how do you bring it together?
If someone asked me to go out there and pick a set, like things that matched, I would do it because that's the brief. But my personal aesthetic is to mix things up. I love stories. I like the idea that I may have found something when I was walking on the street, like this art that I have up over here. These were prints by a Portugal artist that I found in a gallery in Paris. Sometimes I just see something online and I buy it. Like the little figure inside the cloche was actually something I picked up in a flea market in Paris. The Nandi is from Chor Bazaar. The cement diamond is is part of my concrete collection. I have a light in the background over here. I got it at a WSD garage sale for 90 rupees. It's my most favorite part. I always tell people the price. I still have the label on it because I paid 90 rupees for it. And it's placed right against a living room light, which would be considered a bit of an indulgence. Each and everything has just been acquired. Sometimes there is a need, sometimes there is a lust, where you just look at something and you know you want it, and then you save up for it and you get it, and then you keep adding on.
What comes first for you, style or functionality?
In my personal space, style. For a client, depending on who my client is, it's a combination of the two.
I see your walls are adorned with art, a lot of art. So I want to know what is your take on it.
What you see on my walls over here at home are just things I've picked up on my travels. I have a lot of creative friends, photographers. I like buying their stuff. They gift me their photographs. So that is what I have around me at home.
And along with the art inside it, I find the frames really attractive. Like they are placed in a symmetrical fashion. Was that a conscious choice?
I mean, design is in the details, right? You could have something really beautiful, but if it's not placed right, or in terms of art, you could have something which is really expensive, but if the framing has gone wrong, the work might not look nice. Or you could have something which was just inexpensive, but if framed right, it could look a lot nicer.
And I noticed around your house that you have artwork placed on the floor. That's something I've never seen before. So what is the thought behind that?
I like change. I like changing things a lot. So keeping it on the floor, I like the way it looks. It gives me the feasibility of moving things around. A lot of my clients have also appreciated that. So now when sometimes I'm designing a house, I will place some large works of art on the floor. It's just a personal choice. There is no thought process to that.
So I see that white is the predominant color in your living space.
I also use a lot of color, but when it comes to my personal space, white is my color of choice. My bedroom, for instance, is completely white. My linen is all white. I like it to be calm. I like it to be quiet. White helps me do that. White helps me keep it relaxed. Since I have a habit of layering up, as you can see, everywhere there are multiple layers. Over here, for instance, I have a whole bunch of cushions. If I would have added a lot of color, that would have been way too colorful for me.
So what are some of the things that you keep in mind when designing a master bedroom?
I, as a personal occupant of my space, I prefer my bedroom to be very calm. I have my bed, I have a couple of things that I like focusing on the light fixtures. It's my linen that is of prime importance. I always tell people, invest in good linen. That's the only thing you touch every day, day in and out.
Ravi, I know it's hard to pick, but if you had to, choose few of your favorite objects, what would they be?
Would definitely have to be my Jeeves and Wooster pendant light, my Bandit Queen bedding, my black and white photograph by a very dear friend of mine, Shahid Dattawala, my Carl Hansen wishbone chair. If I had to summarize this, would probably have to be the bed in my guest bedroom. It was something I had a lot of fun designing.
And if I have to ask you to pick a favorite corner in this house, what would that be?
It would have to be the outside. I spend a lot of time in the foyer. That's where I sit and work. That's where I have my breakfast. Sundays are usually spent over there. When the weather is nice in Bombay, when we have our fake winters, I tend to do sit-out dinners outside in the garden. I really wanted grass. Unfortunately, because of the trees and lack of sun, the grass doesn't grow very well, and I got sick of it. So I just replaced that with marble pebbles outside.
Ravi, it's been a complete joy talking to you and seeing how you've done up this house from scratch. And on that note, I just cannot wait to see what you've done with your client space.
I can't wait to take you there.
Let's go ahead.
Let's go.
Well, as we speak, Ravi has brought me to this absolutely stunning apartment in Mumbai, which feels nothing like the rest of the city. So Ravi, why don't you come and join us on a guided tour of your masterpiece?
Hi.
Hi. I must say that one can only dream of having a house like this in Mumbai. So I really want to know, when you saw this space for the first time, what were your initial thoughts?
The first time when I walked in here and I saw the view, I was like, wow. So that was my main inspiration. We figured that the view needs to be the key, and we worked around that.
Was this the brief given to you by the client?
The client wanted a contemporary house, and my vision for the space was to do something which was industrial, yet it was luxurious and rich. So all the materials that we've used over here are very, very rich and beautiful, but the material palette per se is very muted.
You spoke of material palettes. What are those key materials that you've used to complement the theme of the house?
Well, the material palettes here are basically cement, where we've not used poured concrete, but we've used micro concrete, which is a 3 mm concrete coating on a finished floor, which is the floor that you see over here. We've used a lot of wood, where there is natural wood and veneer. And we've used natural materials, like all our doors handles are cast bronze handles as opposed to brass handles. My aim was to create an industrial feel. We chose this floor, which is a seamless floor, which is what makes it so beautiful.
Okay. So are there different kinds of seamless floors, or this is the only one that's available?
No, of course, you get different kinds of flooring applications that you can put for seamless floors. There's micro concrete, there is epoxy. One could do a poured concrete floor, which is a more natural way of getting a concrete look.
Okay.
We chose this because this is the easiest option that we wanted for this site.
So clearly, I can see that you've taken your love for concrete way too seriously. Is there anywhere else you've used it in the house?
Mostly it's on the floor. We have designed some concrete knobs in association with Bharat Tiles. So we've used those concrete knobs on wherever we needed knobs. And we've designed a concrete tabletop for the outdoor terrace.
Okay.
So that's the most concrete that we've used over here.
Ravi, tell me about this space here. It totally caught my attention, and the unique combination of the dining table and the lighting here is something I've never seen before.
So we actually spent a few months researching and deciding on this light, because all the options that we were closing on, I had seen them before. I wanted exactly this. When someone walked in, I wanted that feeling of excitement for them to look at it and go like, oh wow,
yeah,
I've never seen this before. But at the same time, I did not want it to be one of those catalog homes where you walk in and you go, brand. So it's a combination of pieces that we bought that because I like them, like the wishbone chairs over here, the table over here, and some of the pieces are by friends who are designers. So it's a combination of things.
Okay. Ravi, as you mentioned earlier that you love natural materials, and I can see that you've used a lot of wood around.
We've used different textures of wood. We've used different shades of wood, where I have an American oak on the ceiling, I have a lighter oak on the dining table, I have a teak on the doors, I have a very exquisite veneer that I don't even know how to pronounce on some units over here. I have Brazilian wood on the bar. So we had Anjali Modi, who is a very nice furniture designer, designed the bar stools for us. We had Thierry Betancourt designed the console for us. Most of the pieces that we've designed have been used in the bedrooms. So why don't we go have a look at it?
Definitely. Wow, Ravi, I must say that the first impression of this room to me is rich and classy.
Thank you.
What are the elements that you've used to accentuate the look?
This is where space planning comes into play, where we combine two rooms together. So this room leads you into the walk-in wardrobe, into the master bathroom. To give it a feeling of looks and richness, we've used the suede wallpaper on the wall. I wanted to use suede because suede has a certain sense of luxury to it. You wake up to a beautiful view of the creek, the Arabian Sea, but the inside space, I wanted it to be absolutely calm and peaceful. We've designed the brass table over here. We've designed the end tables. Taking my love for concrete, we have the concrete knobs on these tables. If you look at the bedding, we've used this bedding from a company known as Bandit Queen, which is one of my favorite linen companies. This is a Pintux duvet, which probably takes about a couple of months to be sewn. We have each and every piece of bedding monogrammed with their initials over here, because I really believe luxury is different to different people.
Yeah.
And with this project, with this bedroom specifically, we've tried to interpret that in our own language.
Okay. And Ravi, this is the second unique fan I've seen in this space so far. What is this love for really eclectic fixtures?
It's a good mixture of form and function. Usually fans can be a bit of an eyesore. So these fans look nice. They add a little more detail. I mentioned the lights I wanted to use earlier in the living room, which I could not. So I made peace and I used a variant of those lights and my bedside lights, where they actually turn. You can position them the way you want to. So it's all about the details. It's just about having fun.
Ravi, since we have pretty much covered everything that we could in this space, can we have a look at the walk-in closet that you mentioned a while ago?
Sure, come along.
Wow, Ravi, this is luxury done right. I mean, is this what happens when a client gives you a free hand at it? You just go crazy with it?
I just wanted to have fun, so yeah. Okay. I started off with the mirror over there, which is the glass Italia mirror. The idea was to reflect the sea into the mirror. When I was out looking at materials, I had come across this marble that stayed in my mind, and I knew I wanted to use it.
Okay.
So we designed the master bathroom in a way that I could keep the marble, I could use this beautiful black and white marble, and then the space sort of transitions into the grey.
Ravi, can we check out what's behind those mirrors? I'm assuming there's some sort of storage behind it.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Oh, it slides this way.
Yes.
Oh, that's quite a clever way actually of incorporating storage with some sort of visual element, which are these reflecting surfaces.
Thank you.
So what is next that you're showing me?
Why don't we go have a look at the guest bedroom?
Definitely, let's go. Ravi, I have to say that this room has instantly got me into a vacation mode.
Isn't that nice? That's the idea.
So, is this material palette wood that you've used?
This is ply. It's a ply that's manufactured by Tata, and we've just clad the whole room in that material. So the key element here would be smaller details again, where I wanted to use this one particular light that I've always been a big fan of. So we've used that as the bedside light. Is the photograph again, where I always knew I wanted a black and white photo in this room. That was always the point. So that's how we came to choosing this photo. Again, the bedding is really special over here. You'll see this is Bandit Queen again, but compared to the master bedroom, this feels a little less luxurious. That was the idea.
Ravi, I never let go of any designer without this question, even at the client's place. I know it's a beautiful house with a spectacular view, but which is that one spot in this house that's your favorite?
Well, it would have to be the washroom.
The washroom?
The powder bathroom.
That's probably the first time I've heard a designer say that the powder room is actually the favorite. So what is so special about it?
You should come see it.
Definitely, let's go.
So this is the favorite part of my house.
Ravi, that's incredibly stunning. I mean, this is something which I think can be termed as creativity at its best.
Oh, thank you. I wanted to use this, I wanted to use the tiles, and the rest of it just evolved.
And tell me about that tab. I mean, I still can't get my eyes off it.
There was a lot of R&D that went into this tab, and we have this customized. And again, I wanted something out of copper, so that's why we're here.
Okay. Ravi, what's really fascinating me here are these tiles and how they've been molded on the sink. How did you achieve this?
So these tiles were imported specially, and we had designed the entire wash basin keeping in mind that we'll be using these tiles. And once again, like rest of the house, I wanted the material palette to be restrained. So that was the idea behind using these tiles.
Well, I have to say that this powder bathroom completely stands out in the whole house. And now I know why this is your favorite spot in the house.
Thank you.
Look at the view, Ravi. Now I completely understand as to how the indoor complements the outdoor here.
Isn't it nice? I think this is the luxury about living in Bombay. You've got the sea, you've got the beautiful view. I've only used a couple of plants. I did not want to overwhelm the space with plants. I've designed the table in concrete. That's the only element of concrete outside. And used one of my favorite materials, that's Kota, and left it at that.
Well, thank you so much, Ravi, for getting me to this house. I must say it was a beautiful tour that I've not been to in a long time.
You're most welcome. I'm so glad you got to see this.
I loved it, and I love what you've done with it.
Thank you.
And right now, we're going to discuss what is perhaps the most neglected area of the house. So, Ravi, do you agree that bathrooms are the most neglected areas of the house?
Not if I'm designing them.
Oh, we saw that. So, Ravi, if someone is on a budget constraint, what are the key or the basics that one must not compromise on?
Well, it depends on a bunch of things, but if you're going to be designing your house in 2015, you want your bathroom to be equipped with certain functional elements that are current. For example, you don't need to have storage geysers anymore, you have online geysers. You have showers with thermostats which maintain the temperature of the water when you are taking a shower. So these are certain things I would keep in mind if I was designing my bathroom now.
So what do you think are some of the common mistakes that people make while doing up their bathrooms?
Well, the most common would be wrong selection of materials. You don't keep in mind the surfaces could be reflective, which means when there's water on them, they'll be slippery. Plumbing fittings, which might require pressure pumps, and those are not taken into account. Make sure that when you're choosing materials for your bathrooms, whether it's stone, whether it's tiles, or whatever surface that you're applying, you test it out. I usually tend to put water in it. I tend to walk on it so that I know it's 100% waterproof. I'm not going to slip on it. Just simple things like that.
So let's talk about the size of the bathrooms. Usually, in most cases, they're small in size, relatively.
Best way to optimize space in bathrooms is to use up dead spaces, create niches where you can store your products. We all tend to have a lot of products in the bathroom. Use the space under the sink wisely, create drawers. Use every possible dead space, and that's one of the best ways to optimize space.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Ravi, for those useful inputs. Now, without further ado, let's move on to the queries that our viewers have been patiently waiting for you to address. So let's move on to the first one. It's been sent in by Anish from Mumbai, and he says, I have bought a new apartment and the overall theme is modern and industrial. Can I customize the fittings for my bathroom? If yes, how do I go about it? Well, this must be up your alley.
You can customize the fittings. It takes a lot of R&D, as I said. So an easier option would be, if you're on a budget, to go out there and get what is available. If not, yes, customization is an option with the right vendors.
Okay, so let's move on to Chirag's query from New Delhi. He says, I've shifted into a house with a beautiful deck area without any lighting. What should be my choice of lighting for the deck?
Well, first and foremost, keep in mind that whatever you choose is waterproof. That's a very important aspect to remember. If budget is a constraint, Highback in India does reasonable outdoor lighting. If budget is not a constraint and he wants to indulge, PS Lab does some wonderful lighting.
Okay.
Lighting in outdoor areas is usually nicer at a lower level so that it doesn't hurt the eye. These are just certain factors.
Well, I'm sure that'll be of great help to him. Coming to Aradhana's query from Chennai, she mentions that the ceiling height of her bedroom is low. How can she make her room look large without increasing the height of the ceiling?
Ideally, go light on the color palette. Use less furniture. Don't overpower the room. Don't overwhelm the room with heavy furniture. And if possible, use mirrors.
So I guess mirrors are usually the safest thing to go for when you want to make a space look bigger?
Yes, that would be the obvious choice, but you have to play with mirrors carefully because you don't constantly want to be surrounded by your own reflection. Or maybe you do.
Yeah. The last query is coming in from Andy, and he says that his daughter wants a new room and he really wants to make it special for her. So what can he do to the room?
Don't paint it pink. Don't be cliched. There's a lot of fun you can have with children's rooms. I like to customize wallpapers. I like to customize art. For instance, we designed a room where we had figures digitally printed on the wardrobe on glass so that the kid could paint it and keep repainting them.
Okay, so basically the kid's room is actually a playground for the kid.
And for you when you're designing.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Ravi, for talking to us. It's been wonderful getting acquainted with your design philosophy.
Thank you so much. The pleasure was all mine.
Well, it's been a creatively enriching day, to say the least. That's all for you on the show today, but next week we'll be back with yet another top designer sharing with us some key insights into the world of interior designing. Until then, goodbye.